I understand English, but I can't speak well. Maya understood English perfectly when she read it, consuming books and articles with ease. Listening to movies and podcasts, she absorbed every nuance, every idiom. Yet, when it came to speaking, her tongue tied itself into knots. I understand English, but I can't speak well, she'd lament, a familiar whisper of frustration echoing in her quiet moments, leaving her feeling isolated and unheard. Social gatherings often became awkward silences for Maya. Her mind raced with eloquent replies, witty remarks, and insightful observations, but they remained trapped within. The words felt foreign on her tongue, heavy and unfamiliar. She longed to participate, to truly connect, but the invisible barrier of spoken English always loomed, a daunting challenge she couldn't seem to overcome easily. She constantly pondered, how to talk in English? This question became a persistent companion, a puzzle she desperately wanted to solve. Every fluent conversation she witnessed intensified her desire, fueling a quiet determination. She yearned for the freedom of expression, to convey her thoughts and feelings without hesitation, to bridge the gap between understanding and articulation effectively. Maya tried various methods, from repeating phrases to memorizing dialogues. However, the spontaneity of real conversation always overwhelmed her. Her attempts felt stilted, unnatural, far from the effortless flow she admired in others. Each mispronounced word or grammatical error felt like a significant setback, reinforcing her deep-seated fear of making irreversible mistakes during discussions. The phrase "listen and practice" resonated deeply with her. She decided to embrace it fully, committing to a new routine. Hours were spent not just passively listening, but actively engaging with spoken English, dissecting intonation and rhythm. She started mimicking native speakers, even whispering phrases to herself, beginning the arduous journey of transforming passive knowledge into active vocalization. Her practice began small, focusing on simple, everyday sentences. Maya would stand before her mirror, trying to articulate her thoughts, even mundane ones, in English. It felt clumsy, often hilarious, but she persisted. This solo effort was crucial for building initial confidence, allowing her to experiment without the pressure of an audience, slowly finding her voice. The biggest obstacle, she realized, was the pervasive thought, "Why I always make mistakes?" This self-critical internal monologue crippled her attempts. Every slip-up felt like a major failure, a confirmation of her inadequacy. She saw errors as insurmountable walls rather than natural steps on the learning curve, making the process feel demoralizing and incredibly difficult. This persistent fear of imperfection prevented her from truly engaging in conversations. She'd hold back, rehearsing sentences endlessly in her mind, only to miss the opportune moment to speak. The desire to avoid mistakes often led to complete silence, ironically hindering the very practice she needed to improve her spoken English fluency and confidence over time. Slowly, Maya began to shift her perspective on how to learn English. It wasn't about avoiding errors, but about embracing them as vital feedback. She started viewing each mistake not as a failure, but as a signpost indicating areas for improvement. This mental adjustment was revolutionary, liberating her from the paralyzing grip of self-criticism and doubt. She explored different ways of learning English beyond traditional methods. Online language exchange platforms became her new battlefield, a place where she could practice with understanding peers. She joined virtual discussion groups, forcing herself to contribute, even if it meant stumbling through sentences, slowly building resilience and conversational stamina over time. The question, how to improve your fluency, became less daunting when she focused on communication over grammatical perfection. Her goals shifted from flawless speech to effective expression. She concentrated on conveying her message clearly, even if it meant using simpler vocabulary or rephrasing sentences, prioritizing meaning above all other linguistic elements. A significant turning point came when she discovered the profound impact of why reading is important. She had always enjoyed reading, but now she approached it with a new purpose. Reading widely exposed her to diverse sentence structures, rich vocabulary, and natural idiomatic expressions, far beyond what textbooks could offer, broadening her linguistic horizons considerably. She started reading fiction aloud, not just silently. Hearing her own voice articulate the words on the page helped bridge the gap between her inner understanding and external pronunciation. This active form of reading strengthened her vocal muscles and improved her rhythm and intonation, making her speech sound more natural and less forced during conversations. Why reading is so important truly became clear. It wasn't just about passive intake. It provided a blueprint for speaking. The consistent exposure to correctly formed sentences subconsciously built her grammatical intuition. She noticed herself constructing sentences more naturally, with less conscious effort, a direct result of her dedicated reading practice. She adopted a disciplined routine: daily listening, daily speaking practice, and daily reading. Each component reinforced the others, creating a powerful synergy. Maya understood that consistency, not intensity, was the true key to unlocking her potential. Every small step forward contributed to her overall progress and increasing confidence levels significantly. The initial awkwardness of her spoken English gradually began to dissipate. She found herself less hesitant, more willing to take conversational risks. The fear of why I always make mistakes slowly transformed into a curiosity about how to correct them, shifting her mindset from self-defeat to constructive self-improvement consistently. Maya started recording her own voice, speaking about her day or simply describing objects around her. Listening back was often cringeworthy initially, but it provided invaluable insights into her pronunciation and pacing. This objective self-assessment became a powerful tool for identifying specific areas requiring more attention and focused practice. She sought out opportunities to use English in real-life scenarios: ordering coffee, asking for directions, engaging in small talk with tourists. Each interaction, no matter how brief, was a victory. These small triumphs chipped away at her anxiety, building a foundation of practical experience and growing self-assurance every single day. The journey was certainly not without its challenges. There were days of frustration, moments when she felt her progress stalled. But she reminded herself of the core principle: listen and practice relentlessly. Every stumble was a learning opportunity, every awkward pause a chance to rephrase. Reinforcing her commitment consistently, she immersed herself in English media, watching TV shows without subtitles, listening to complex podcasts, and even following English-speaking YouTubers. This constant exposure to authentic speech patterns accelerated her understanding of natural conversation flow and speed, significantly improving her comprehension and listening skills over time. How to talk in English was no longer a theoretical question but a practical, ongoing endeavor. She discovered the importance of active recall, trying to summarize what she read or heard aloud. This active engagement cemented new vocabulary and grammatical structures more firmly in her memory, enhancing her expressive abilities naturally. Maya realized that speaking was a muscle, and like any muscle, it needed consistent exercise to grow strong. The more she pushed herself out of her comfort zone, the more fluent and natural her speech became. Each spoken word, regardless of perfection, contributed to building that vital linguistic strength and endurance every single day. The question why I always make mistakes slowly faded, replaced by the understanding that mistakes are simply signposts on the path to mastery. She learned to laugh at her own mispronunciations and appreciate the effort she was putting in. This newfound self-compassion was incredibly liberating, fostering a more positive learning environment. Her progress in how to improve your fluency was undeniable. Conversations that once terrified her now felt less intimidating. While she still made errors, they no longer paralyzed her. She focused on recovering quickly, rephrasing, and continuing the dialogue, prioritizing communication flow above absolute linguistic accuracy consistently. Reading continued to be her secret weapon. Beyond just comprehension, it provided models of natural phrasing and idiomatic expressions that she could then incorporate into her own speech. Why reading is so important for fluency became incredibly obvious. It armed her with the linguistic tools necessary for nuanced conversation effectively. She diversified her way of learning English. She found a conversation partner online, someone with whom she could practice regularly without judgment. These dedicated sessions provided a safe space to experiment with new vocabulary and complex sentence structures, accelerating her spoken English development considerably and effectively. Maya also experimented with shadowing techniques, repeating what native speakers said almost simultaneously. This intensive practice honed her pronunciation and intonation, making her sound more natural. It was an intense but highly effective method for internalizing speech patterns, moving closer to the effortless flow she admired so greatly. Her confidence soared as she noticed real improvements. She no longer felt the intense pressure to be perfect, understanding that fluency was about smooth communication, not error-free delivery. This shift in mindset was pivotal, allowing her to speak more freely and spontaneously, unlocking her true conversational potential in English. The initial thought, "I understand English but I can't speak well," transformed into, "I understand English and I can speak well enough." The shift in perspective was profound. She understood that perfection was an illusion, and effective communication was the true measure of success in her ongoing linguistic journey and efforts. She embraced the concept that how to learn English is a lifelong process. There would always be new vocabulary, new expressions, and new ways to refine her fluency. This continuous learning mindset prevented stagnation and kept her motivated, ensuring that her progress would always continue steadily forward. The more she practiced, the less she worried about why I always make mistakes. She saw them as opportunities for growth, moments to learn and refine. This healthy relationship with errors was crucial for her sustained improvement, allowing her to take more risks and push her boundaries continually. Her journey highlighted that listen and practice were not merely suggestions but foundational pillars. Active listening trained her ear, while consistent speaking practice trained her mouth and mind. This dual approach created a powerful feedback loop, constantly refining her linguistic abilities and comprehension skills. Maya started speaking to herself in English throughout the day, narrating her actions, describing her surroundings. This constant internal monologue, vocalized quietly, helped solidify new vocabulary and grammatical structures. It kept her mind actively engaged with the language, maintaining a high level of immersion consistently. The benefits of why reading is important extended beyond vocabulary. It exposed her to different registers and tones, helping her understand nuances in conversation. Reading news articles, essays, and even poems broadened her scope, making her English more versatile and adaptable to various contexts and situations effectively. She recognized that way of learning English is highly personal. What worked for one person might not work for another. She experimented with different apps, tutors, and techniques, eventually curating a personalized learning strategy that maximized her strengths and addressed her specific challenges efficiently. Her newfound ability to how to talk in English opened up a world of possibilities. She could now confidently engage with international colleagues, travel without linguistic barriers, and fully appreciate English language media. The joy of expressing herself freely was an unparalleled reward for her persistent efforts. Maya understood that how to improve your fluency involved more than just technical skills. It required courage, persistence, and a willingness to step outside one's comfort zone repeatedly. Fluency blossomed from consistent effort and a positive attitude towards the learning process over time. She often reflected on her initial struggles, the crippling fear of why I always make mistakes. It felt like a distant memory now, replaced by a calm acceptance that errors are inevitable and essential for true learning and growth. This mental shift was perhaps her greatest achievement and progress. The transformation in her English-speaking ability was remarkable. She now engaged in lively debates, told engaging stories, and articulated complex ideas with a natural flow that she once only dreamed of achieving. Her voice, once hesitant, now resonated with confidence and clarity during conversations. Why reading is so important continued to reinforce her fluency. It provided endless examples of natural language use, shaping her intuition for correct phrasing and rhythm. Her brain absorbed patterns effortlessly, leading to more spontaneous and accurate speech production without conscious effort from her side. She encouraged others facing similar struggles with, "I understand English but I can't speak well." Her advice was always consistent. Embrace the process, be patient with yourself, and never underestimate the power of consistent practice. Her journey became an inspiration for many others around her. Maya now felt a deep connection to the English language, not just as a tool, but as a part of her identity. It allowed her to express her authentic self, bridging cultural gaps and forging new connections worldwide, enhancing her global understanding and interpersonal relationships significantly over time. Her initial question, how to talk in English, had evolved. It was no longer about a formula, but about a dynamic relationship with the language, constantly evolving and improving. She understood that real conversation was messy and imperfect, and that was perfectly fine for effective communication. The continuous cycle of listen and practice remained central to her routine. She knew that even advanced speakers benefited from constant exposure and active engagement. This lifelong commitment ensured that her English skills would continue to sharpen, adapting to new contexts and challenges smoothly. Maya's journey was a testament to the power of perseverance and a growth mindset. She transformed her greatest linguistic challenge into her greatest strength, demonstrating that anyone can overcome speaking anxiety with the right strategies and unwavering dedication over time. The early anxieties surrounding why I always make mistakes had completely vanished. She learned to embrace her unique accent and occasional slips as part of her personal linguistic charm. Authenticity became more important than perceived perfection, allowing her to speak truly from the heart consistently. Her ability to improve your fluency became a refined skill. She learned to identify her specific weaknesses and targeted them with focused exercises. From specific pronunciation drills to practicing intonation, her approach became increasingly strategic and efficient for rapid improvement. Why reading is important was not just about building vocabulary, but also about cultural understanding. Through diverse texts, she gained insights into different perspectives and ways of thinking, enriching her conversations and making her a more thoughtful and informed speaker on various topics. The myriad way of learning English she explored culminated in a holistic approach. She blended formal study with informal immersion, recognizing that language acquisition thrives on diverse inputs and consistent output, creating a well-rounded and effective learning strategy for herself. Maya's transformation from, "I understand English but I can't speak well," to confident communicator was inspiring. She proved that the journey of language learning is personal, challenging, yet incredibly rewarding. Her voice, once timid, now resonated with clarity and purpose, inspiring many. She no longer feared the silence. Instead, she filled it with her thoughts, expressed clearly and concisely in English. The words flowed, sometimes perfectly, sometimes with minor imperfections, but always with intention and confidence, making every interaction meaningful and effective. Her continued dedication to listen and practice ensures her skills remain sharp. Every day brings new opportunities to refine her expression and understanding, making the journey an endless exploration of linguistic growth and personal development over time. Maya's story is a vivid illustration of how dedication overcomes doubt, and consistent effort leads to remarkable fluency. Her journey from silent understanding to confident articulation proves that anyone can master spoken English with the right strategies and unwavering commitment. The initial burden of why I always make mistakes had been replaced by a liberating understanding that learning is iterative. Each error was a valuable lesson, propelling her forward on her path to English mastery, creating a positive feedback loop for continuous improvement. Finally, her quest for how to talk in English had blossomed into a natural, intuitive ability. The fear was gone, replaced by joy in communication. Maya now spoke English not just well, but wonderfully, a testament to her journey and unwavering spirit.